Cascade Media Group, and today we have on our Urban Professional series a young gentleman that's out in Hollywood, California, from Kansas City. I've known him for the last 10 years. Very talented young man, Mr. Craig Smith. How you doing, Craig?
I'm great, enjoying this sunny weather. Missing Kansas City though.
Hey, Craig, talk to my audience a little bit about yourself. I know when I met you, what you were doing, and let our audience know what you actually do for a living.
Okay, so I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. That's really where my heart and soul resides. I've always been a digital creator and a rapper, but after so long, I got an opportunity to come out to Hollywood to make music for film and TV. So basically, if you watch TV at all, you've probably heard my voice. If you love movies, then you've heard some of our work that we do out here. And really, what I'm wanting to do more of is tell stories and transition all of the musical elements into more of my own music or creating more digital content, but just telling stories and entertaining folks is really my mission.
How did you get into that mindset in general? To go into this industry.
Well, really, when you go into an industry like entertainment, you're filled with a lot of expectations. So my expectation was that by the time I graduated high school, I was going to be signed to a major record label, and that I was going to put out a record, and everybody would come flock to me, and I would be the next Jay-Z, right? And then the more you get into it, the more you realize that you don't necessarily have to be out front immediately, and that there are these other things that you can do within any industry. So instead of looking at it as a zero-sum game, I got to sell 1 million copies of nothing. I got presented the opportunity to, because I was creating so much music, I got the opportunity to work for this boutique shop that makes music for film and TV and licenses songs all over town. And really, like, for
Want to
me,
give him a plug?
It's called the Math Club. It's not really like a public-facing thing, because as soon as I say that, then I get 1,000 Facebook messages. Put me on, bro. I got a song that'd be perfect for the new Power Rangers or something crazy. Not that there's a new Power Rangers coming out.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Also, you were like inanimate about, if you watch TV, you'll see some of my stuff. Especially so. I was shocked because you've been on the show before on entertainment when you were coming through the ranks, and that show Power, because I don't watch a lot of TV. That was the first heads up for me. Wake up, Mr. Nelson. We got Mr. Smith, and he's doing big things. He's not the local yokel. Tell people what you've done. Some of the pieces. As you say, you're a rapper, but you're multi-talented because you edit. I'm saying you have this game down pat, and
I don't just rap, I produce music. All of it's born out of necessity. So coming up as a rapper, as a teenager, I couldn't afford graphic design. So I learned how to design. I couldn't afford a music video. So I had to learn how to edit. I had to learn how to shoot. I had to learn how to produce my own music because I couldn't afford them and I wasn't going to make excuses. So, when opportunities come up like, I have music in power, but I also have a music video in power. I've, gotten opportunities to work for some interesting folks out here in Hollywood because of the multidisciplinary nature of what I do. And man, so like, as far as credits, I think more recently, I did a lot of stuff for Grownish, back when Empire was out, and the accompanying show Star. We did Paw Patrol just recently. The firm I work for did WandaVision. We think there's a bunch of Netflix shows. Man, we just working.
All right, I want to cut you off a minute and go to some things that I'm that's dear to my heart. When you do these live information, or to me, down to earth for people of color, you talk about your life situation, the work. I'm saying you go all over the place with it, but I really, it resonates really with me because it's not that Jake the fake. And
well, and yeah, exactly. And I think what you're getting at, and what's really important to me is, I think we have been, let's just use an old phrase, sold a bill of goods. I think that at one point in time, we believed that the establishment was going to give us what we were owed, and that we believed that so heavily that we assimilated into what the status quo is. So, get a good job, go out there and work for these people. And then the more that you dig deep into it, the more you see that the game isn't just rigged against your equality, it's also rigged against your effort. It's also rigged against, every dream that you had that would tell you that that these laws and that these systems apply to you as a Black person. And so my mission with everything that I do really is infiltration and education. We have to get into these systems and create our own. We have to get into these systems and wake people up, because there's a lot of, you see it in the way that we fight politically. We engage in fights that are started by people who aren't of our community. And they do, and just to be frank, the white liberal establishment would have you believe that you're engaged in warfare, that they're fighting on behalf of you. And that's what I want people to wake up to.
All right. Well, I talked to you about this network and what have you. That's what we're about. But it's very hard to wake your community up when they've had since we've been here, they've had media coming at them in different forms of and representation. I just got finished doing some stuff with some ministers, and I was like, that was from my perspective, part of the problem. And they were saying how people, a lot of the Black churches, they're just empty now. And
because people are in a search for meaning.
Right.
Because the Black church right now doesn't have the same, it's not talking to what we're actually faced with right now. If you want to love Jesus, there's plenty of digital ways you can love Jesus throughout the week and learn about that. But when it comes to actually being there for people, that's not what we need in the traditional way that churches have presented themselves. We have as much of that at our disposal through the connectivity of the internet, that now the church has to figure out how to facilitate what people are actually searching for. And it ain't trying to figure, I'm from church world. I worked in several churches and at one point was a minister. But the things that we've done, and this speaks to a larger Black conversation, because traditionally we want to believe that our struggle is something that's linear, that you can speak for all Black people, that all Black people should be going to church on Sunday because their grandparents did it. But is increasingly not the case. And we're increasingly being shown that we need a more well-rounded view of what people are actually searching for. And it's in the media would have you believe that it's Black Lives Matter. The media would have you believe that, or the church would have you believe that it's we need God because we're all in sin, and rap music has turned us all into disrespectful whoremongers. But when you actually get on the ground and talk to people, we're suffering with really base level human issues, and we're struggling to make meaning of it, because everything that we've been told has been a lie, or everything that we've been told has been masking the truth. Band-aids. You having trouble with your mental health, just pray about it. You want to start a business, but you don't have enough money, it's these white people's fault. Like these are all things that we got to readdress. And I'm sorry.
Well, no, hold it. Listen, Craig, that is why I contacted you. I didn't know that you would go deep like this, but I know in your personal stuff, this is how you go. This is how I roll too. All right. Yeah. And when I'm rolling like that and get on that tangent, I try to tell our audience, ever since the 7th century, Europeans took over mass communications. When they started, the Pope started painting God white on the Sistine Chapel, that has a profound influence on how mankind thinks and sees.
It's nefarious. See,
right.
what I think people have to understand is that the struggle with white versus everybody else, the colonizing of cultures, isn't merely white and then everybody else. What it is, it wouldn't matter if they was black, white, or whatever. It's that they gave you an image of what right and wrong was. And the nefarious part of it is that we still have played into this. And you ever wonder, I mean, I'm sure you think about this and you have theories about it, but like over the course of the last, Jim Crow ended, let's say, 50 years ago. And we're still playing into the hands of the oppression, the system that's been in place. And why is that? It's because the behaviors, the baseline principle of what we believe about this world was set up for us. And then when we play into it, it perpetuates itself time and time again. The behaviors are already set in stone.
We are definitely on the same page. How I say to us is, you have been educated in a Eurocentric viewpoint, everything that since you came out the womb. And so even when you think you thinking right, you thinking wrong. It's just because you only are a product of your environment, and you have to want to wake up. It's just like this Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali movie that's out. And I've been thinking I haven't seen it yet, but when you have information, you're more woke. So somebody was on and they was talking about this 2 weeks ago, a young brother. He was saying, how can you make a movie about Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali and you don't have Minister Farrakhan in it? The only one that really knew both of them.
Yeah.
The things that they daughters and all these people, they were babies. They only know what somebody told them.
And this is why I said that the struggle is really that somebody gave us a framework for right and wrong, because Minister Farrakhan can be disrespected and left out of many different media outlets for information because of how the establishment views him as somebody who's anti and problematic. And once you get the problematic label, they'll always exclude.
Well, hence my association with you. What I was saying, and I constantly have to tell this to supporters or would-be supporters, blacks that are not supporting. Do you understand how important it is for you to have your own media source, your own communication source? I'm like, do you understand when we invaded Iraq, Saddam said, we got the 1 million man army and it's going to be the mother of all battles. Norman Schwarzkopf said, no, buddy, we're in the 21st century. First thing we're going to do is cut your communication. See how you talk to your troops. How do we talk to our people? We have these newspapers that black newspapers come out every 2 weeks, every week. That's the information we get. And you don't go to your, hold it. But where I'm at, what I was telling you about Worldwide, What's Up Kansas City, our business channels, you're so programmed that you don't even go to your own media sources, don't even know about your media sources. I just told you that we interviewed Fisk's president, Alcoa's president, Xavier's president, Langston's president. It's about 6 or 7 in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I have talked to them on camera and off camera about what I see is wrong with the black community. And this is across the board. And I was so surprised that they had the gumption to agree and say, your hypothesis is right. Our whole community is on a nonprofit footing for the most part. You can't sweep with a broad brush, but across the country, everything is nonprofit, businesses and what have you. When you have your hand out, you have the people that are funding you, you got to drink their Kool-Aid. Yeah. And the thing about the system we're in, not only do they require you to drink it, they require you to distribute it in your community. That's
why I believe I agree with the notion that he who controls the information guides the destiny of those who, who are receiving said information. And sort of what I was on before I left Kansas City, because I was looking at why certain, we have entertainment districts in Kansas City, and once one club falls, then they might rename themselves and come back. But what I see is a lack of variety, a lack of options, lack of choice, and so that goes so far as entertainment, as education, as information, as healthcare. There's been when we say something like the Black community particularly has been overlooked and underserved, it's not that these things have not been there. So let's use it, information as a case study. In Kansas City, you got the call paper, you got What's Up Kansas City, you got that's pretty much it.
Globe, you got the
Globe. And see what happens is and this is just marrying the reality of things with what would actually work. When you look at the flow of information throughout the rest of the world, the strongest communities have varieties of information sources, save for the final call, is a strong community thriving and it has one central source, but there's a central belief system. With Black people in the diaspora, there is no one central theme guiding us. And I think that's why we need so many different sources of information that feed not a narrative, but that feed the sense of meaning, belonging, purpose that we've been lacking for so long because it's been fed to us by the CNNs and the BETs. And
you see what I see, but I'm different on that. The same thing that's holding us back is that the leadership in our community have clay feet. Most of from the NAACP on down.
I agree, but I don't look at those as they're not. I don't look to them as my leaders.
No, hold it. I'm not saying hold it. Let me finish my statement. All right.
Yeah.
So the main thing that is aching the Black community is economics. If we have economics, we can solve all our own problems. All right. And these are the type of
I'm losing. Hold on.
That's all right. The conversation, and they're gonna stay because the conversation is got value. The information, they don't want the information to get out. Do you know here in Kansas City, I have talked to every major minister in this city. I said, you've got to start bringing us online. Your picture, you need to get your picture squared away. Can't see your face hardly.
Yeah, hold on real quick. I lost you for a second. Say the last part again.
All right. You need to get your camera squared away because your face is up here.
Yeah, I'm struggling out here in this cool weather. It's been
All right. Yeah. What I was saying is that, see, everybody, our community, everybody is financially have problems, but we have the 1/3. Those are these people in like superintendent. You know how long I've been doing sports with the Kansas City School District since really 2008, all Black district. Do you think the Kansas City School District has ever done any interview? I mean, any advertisement with us or anything? And you have a Black district, a Black superintendent, or a district of color. So when you have these people, I just pointed him out. You have the NAACP, the Urban League, Freedom Inc., and you have a company like ours, the only Black-owned digital company, and they don't do no business with you. You're familiar with Leon's Supermarket. How can you have one of the oldest Black supermarkets in the United States and you got 129,000 Black people or more buy groceries every week and that go out of business? Right. That shows you the mental state of our community. Not what they saying, what they doing. The last interview that I did was Langston President Friday, and he talked about it because when we talked about this situation, he said Black people, when you look at it, they come to the university, homecoming, everybody's chest is poked out, I'm HBCU, this and that. After homecoming, when you start talking about donating to the university, you can hear a mouse piss on cotton. And where I'm at, until we start supporting the things that are supporting us, going back to Farrakhan, I tell people all the time, how come you can't support us financially? You're not willing to stand up next to a guy like Farrakhan. We are. We're out here plugging for Black people. You might can't stand up with us because of your position. You'll lose your job or what have you. But you can support us financially. In our community, don't do that. Or you can support us with HR. Running operations like us is a lot about having talented people. You were fortunate because you have the skill set to be multidisciplined, and I can edit, I can graphic, I can write, I can do all these different things. But for most small companies, you got to hire people, and people don't want to do nothing on the come nowadays because major media and the 1%, they got you thinking, don't worry about nobody but yourself. And if you got,
and that's why I included the infiltration piece. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, right.
That's why I included the infiltration piece because and this is just my own hot take, but the fatal flaw in our mobilization has always been that we try to sell to each other. When in any other playbook, you sell to whoever's buying, and you create your wealth, and then you distribute to your people, as opposed to believing that just by very nature of us all being Black, we all are going to shop with each other. And that has crippled us, in my opinion, because that's just not the way that the market works. The market works in a way that if you create something valuable that people want, people will buy it. If you use those funds to build a better infrastructure, a better system for whoever it is that needs it, that's one thing. But what we've been doing for the last 50 years is assuming that in order to be pro-Black means that you have to only be Black.
Oh, no.
You have to only be no, not you. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
in general. Let me say this. Our plan is like BET. Our plan is to be Black, but what we're doing is selling our Blackness to corporate America. You want our Black audience?
And what that does is it not only strengthens the community itself, but it also gives a narrative. You ever notice that, like, for the most part, white folks who don't really communicate with Black people are never educated on Black culture by Black people. Imagine if the grocery store that went out of business over there on Jackson would have been had another location in the white community, funding it over there on Jackson. Like, these are things that are more tactical, but it falls on deaf ears because my own hypothesis is that we've only been allowed to dream so high and only been allowed to believe so high. So even me being out here, people told me that I couldn't move my wife and 3 kids to California. And then it's especially now that it's just me and my 3 kids in California, and things that, like, it's implausible to many people to do things that seem hard because our mode, and this is the reason I would assume that you face so many struggles with the school district, or I have friends who in Kansas City who have tried to do business with the school district, but they're in survival mode. How do we get these kids to come to school? How do we get these kids to eat? How do we keep these kids from dying? And once we get stuck in survival mode, then we perpetuate we're susceptible to any attack because all that we do is run. It's time to fight.
It's almost that goes to me with the nonprofit. Those are scavengers. You don't learn how to hunt and provide.
Well, but I think in the nonprofit sector we do have a lot of hunters, and I think that's the problem because it becomes an easy thing to ask people for money, and an easy thing to. Not that all nonprofits in the Black community are doing this, but a vast majority of the ones that I've seen and worked for have asked for money, knowing that they have the ability to sell people on things that they never intend to follow through with.
Well, then switching, to me, we live in a switch and bait society. Again, even taking health and wellness into consideration, why people don't want to get shots. People just want to say, oh, they no. People understand that media,
the trickery.
Yeah, they come out, this is what you need to do. Then months later, oh no, that's wrong. Then they backtrack on a lot of different things. Well, I'm gonna close this out. What advice do you have for your community as it relates to the information that they're ingesting from mainstream media every day?
I think that the community that I love and I hold near and dear, the community that made me, is the Black community, the hip hop community. The one piece of messaging that I would give is never stop questioning, and in your questioning, create. So if something don't seem right to you, create the alternative. Do your own research, not read your own articles, like actually go to the sources of these things. And then whatever you have a gifting for, be it education or creative writing or making little short, stupid videos on TikTok, use that information to be powerful, because they're not gonna give you nothing. And if they do, they expect something. But never, ever, ever stop questioning.
Excellent. Well, as we always say here at Cascade Media Group on all our shows, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.
Yeah.
The program is brought to you by the Kansas City Business Association.